mindful of we don't have too much extra. So may I introduce the first speaker? Chin Wei from Malaysia, and the presentation title is going to be Identification and Ranking of Current Practices, Critical Success Factors, and Challenges Using Reality Importance Index, RII, a preliminary study of building information modeling adoption in Malaysian construction industry.
Thank you, Professor Fazat. Thank you for introductions. Sorry for the hiccup. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chin Wei. You can call me Jessie as well. I'm the first author for this research. So today my research is about the title, Identification of Current Practice, Critical Success Factor, Challenges Using RII Method, a preliminary studies on the Malaysia construction industry. So I'm from University Malaysia of Sarawak. It's the east side of Malaysia. And I'm also representing my department, which is Public Works Department of Sarawak. So maybe before I go into the sessions, allow me to introduce a little bit about the current status of BIM implementations in Malaysia. So as you can see from this image, this is I extracted from Malaysia Construction 4.0 Strategic Plan, 2021 and 2025. You can see that BIM, Building Information Modeling, is considered as one of the 12 technologies which is helped with the Construction 4.0 in Malaysia construction industry. And in fact, in year 2016, CIDB, Construction Industry Development Board of Malaysia, has conducted a survey on the BIM adoption rate in Malaysia compared to any other country. So as you can see from here, that the BIM adoption rate is in year 2016 is only 17% compared to UK, which is 54%. And in the year 2019, the rate somehow has increased to 33%, with the awareness rate increased to 29%. This is a report for year 2019. And in the year 2020, the Ministry of Work of Malaysia has released a circular highlighting on the use of building information modeling in project more than 10 million ringgit Malaysia and above, which is equivalent to 1.81 pound million and above. So covering for in-house project, consultancy project, and also design and build project. And in year 2020, our government, the Ministry of Work, also released a national construction policy highlighting the use of BIM as a game changer for the Malaysia construction industry. So if you download these documents from the internet, you can see that actually the word of building information modeling have been highlighted for more than 10 times in these documents. Okay? So in year 2021, so the CIDB, Construction Industry Development Board of Malaysia, together with the CREAM Construction Research Institute of Malaysia, has conducted another survey, but this time they are covering for all the states in Malaysia. So as you can see, this is the latest adoption rate happens in Malaysia. There is a big difference, the gap difference between in Kuala Lumpur and also in other states. That is the current status in Malaysia. So in last year, 1st of July, our governments, federal governments, has already come up with a circular mandating the use of BIM for project more than 10 million above, covering for both buildings and infrastructure work. So this is the latest circulars. So what is the issue here actually in Malaysia? Despite we have all these construction policies and also the standards and also the circulars, but people, especially the private sectors, they are still struggling with using BIM, and then likewise also for governments. Remain inconsistent, and then they face the organizations and also cultural barriers. At the same time, also there is an absence of comprehensive assessment on BIM implementations in Malaysia, and also there is also lack of empirical evidence that ranks the factors of BIM adoptions in Malaysia. So the research is aimed to examine the current practice, CPs, critical success factor, CSF, and also challenges CH or building information modeling throughout the project life cycle in the Malaysia construction industry. And the objective is to analyze all these attributes and then to rank the identified factors. Okay, so as you can see from here, this is the BIM status in worldwide. So most other countries, especially the developed countries, you can see that their BIM status is already up to advanced level, and some of them even go for moderate and moderate intermediate level. And from all this research, I mean from their experience, I would say that we have read the documents and documents all the factors and put it in table form. So there are 20 current practice has been identified in the construction industry. 30 critical success factors has been identified in the construction industry. And also 20 BIM challenges has been identified in the construction industry, has been documented as well. Okay, so the methodology of this research is starting with a thematic literature reviews, followed by a purposive sampling methods covering 25 key industry experts on this with the project experience across Malaysia. We are not focusing on only Kuala Lumpur, we are trying to cover all the key industry experts from all these states. And then questionnaires covering into 4 sections, demographic backgrounds, and then ranked on the current practice, critical success factor, and also challenges using the Likert scale method. And then further than that, we will do a description analysis by analyze the respondent profiles and also RRI method. Okay, so based on the result, we can see that most of the respondents, most of them have experienced more than 10 years and above, and then they have a higher, the highest academic qualifications is degree, which means they have at least degree holder and above. And also, if you can see that the respondent background mostly are engineers, because why? Because engineers covering electrical, mechanical, civil and structure, because so they have biggest populations. So that's why they have more respondents. And for number of projects has been involved among these 25 key respondents, they actually have experienced more than 10 projects in BIM. So based on the response from these 25 key respondents, most of them are involving in the project in BIM, mostly on buildings, covering educational and also administrative buildings, followed by residential and also commercial. And lastly is the infrastructure for road and highway. For the rest, like for example, facility measurements, there are still not much adoptions in Malaysia. And most of the projects are federal funded, followed by private projects, then only is a state funded project. So when it comes to the stages involving in BIM projects, actually most of us are still at the planning and design stage, and then followed by the constructions, and then the least is facility management. Okay, so based on the RRI that has been analyzed, so we found that actually it's actually the same as other findings in other journals articles, that actually BIM is primarily used for coordinations and also for visualizations. Then only it is for CDE. Okay, so for this research, the minimum value of important level, we are putting at RRI 0.6. So if you can see from here, actually all the RRI value is higher than 0.6. So all are very important. But these are the top 3 most important. And then followed by this critical success factor, you will see that actually, surprisingly, that technology is not the most important factors based on the response from all the 25 key respondents, because they believe that trainings, educations, and professional development is the most important criteria, then followed by the standards, guidelines, and also protocol. Of course, a lot of people will have a misunderstanding that you must have the technologies, you must buy the software, only then you can do BIM. But based on the response, based on the research, it's not. Actually, our readiness, organization readiness, and organization support, and the regulatory compliance is the one that most important. Okay, followed by the challenges. What are the biggest challenges? Actually, is still on the misunderstanding on BIM, because a lot of people still think that BIM is costly, BIM is complicated, BIM is expensive, and then it's very hard to implement. So they are resist. They are not willing to change. This is the biggest challenges in Malaysia, and also lack of BIM knowledge and awareness, and then the resistance of organization to change, and then also lack of the management support. Okay, so what is the significant study of this research? Is that this research actually provides a preliminary studies on BIM adoption in Malaysia construction industry, and then by using these established identified factors, this research will be further into developing an assessment framework, robust assessment framework, to assist the construction industry to to prepare them to know how to implement BIM. And also, the future study, we are looking into conducting a larger scale study instead of 25 being professional, we are looking into a larger sample scale, maybe like 300 and above sample size. And also a qualitative method which will be include the semi-structured interviews. And also will validate the identified factors through exploratory factor analysis, EFA, confirmatory factor analysis, CFA, and also structural equations modeling, SEM. And then lastly, we have the intentions to develop and validate a BIM adoption framework and perhaps an assessment tool for, to assist the construction industry. So with this, thank you. That's all for my sharing.
So can I